Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 7, The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 51, 726, The Three Kingdoms Number 1 Scholar. 51st of Volume 7. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. During the battle at Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane, the Zhenhai Guanwu displayed extraordinary combat prowess but also revealed her true strengths and weaknesses. The Zhenhai Guanwu had relied on Yu Yaozi's Nirvana Heavenly Core to unleash immortal techniques, repelling the overwhelming enemy forces. Her psychic power cultivation had yet to reach the Emperor Psychic Master realm. Yet now, as the Jade Talisman resonated with heaven and earth, the Zhenhai Guanwu's Emperor realm psychic power manifested, formally declaring to the world that her weakness had passed and her psychic power had returned. In the Xiaoyao capital, countless cultivators knelt on one knee. Transcendent-level powerhouses emerged, their expressions grave as they gazed at the heavens. Some bowed slightly, murmuring, the number of Emperor Psychic Masters in southern Yingzhou has increased to 3. Inside the Phoenix carriage, the second Palace Master lifted the curtain, her fingers clenching so tightly her lips threatened to bleed. Her emotions were a tangled mess, the bitterness overwhelming. We welcome the return of the Mist Heavenly Emperor. Voices from the human clan's high command echoed from Immortal Tower, reverberating across the 9 heavens. Sha Jin's melodious voice rang out. By the Mist Heavenly Sovereign's imperial decree, Li Wei is under her protection and granted the Emperor Talisman. Any transcendent who dares target him will be considered to have offended her directly. The Emperor Talisman will detect any attacker, pursuing them to their death even across millions of miles. Li Wei stepped forward to receive the talisman. All eyes turned to Li Wei, burning with envy. An Emperor Psychic Master personally dispatched a Demon King-level expert to Xiaoyao capital to eliminate any threats to a Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivator. With such extraordinary attention, who would dare to target Li Wei by violating the rules? Many claimed Li Wei was merely a pawn of Yu Yaozi, but now it's clear the situation is far more complex. Even the Mist Heavenly Sovereign has manifested her divine power as a deterrent. He's the top-ranked cultivator on the immortal ranking and commands 7 king-grade larvae. Within a century, they could become 8 transcendent beings. Naturally, Lingxiao Palace will spare no effort to protect him. See. This is the true value of innate talent in the martial mystic path. What excuse do we have left to slack off in our cultivation? Zuoqiu Hongting, Kang Li, Nangong, Wenren Tinghai, Ku Yao, and the others were utterly stunned. For an Emperor Psychic Master to go to such lengths personally for him, even the number 1 scholar among the Heavenly Emperor's disciples couldn't compare. Li Wei remained composed. He walked to the base of the earth-ranking jade stele, bowed deeply, and said, I offer my deepest gratitude to the Mist Heavenly Emperor. Sha Jin observed the human clan youth and confirmed her suspicions, he was indeed extraordinary. Facing the favor of an Emperor Psychic Master, he maintained perfect composure. This Emperor Talisman is essentially an avatar of the Mist Heavenly Sovereign. Any transcendent-level being who attacks you will be instantly slain by it. However, it offers no protection against beings below the transcendent realm. Do you understand the Mist Heavenly Sovereign's profound intentions? I am great immortal. If I cannot withstand the dangers and challenges beneath the transcendent realm, I am unworthy of the Mist Heavenly Sovereign's favor. Li Wei extended his hands and caught the Emperor Talisman as it flew toward him, then stored it within his brow center spirit realm. The sea of spiritual light in the sky and the figure of Zhenhai Guanwu rapidly dissipated, and the mist returned to darkness. No one knew the true power of the Emperor Talisman. But Zhenhai Guanwu's public bestowal of the talisman upon Li Wei before the entire world was more than just a symbolic act. It meant she had staked her reputation, the authority of the Emperor Psychic Masters, and her own prestige on this single talisman. From that moment forward, Li Wei undoubtedly became the voice of Lingxiao Palace, representing Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi as he walked the world. No one would dare question this. Clang! A deafening metallic clash echoed across North Lake, sending ripples across the water and startling the crowd awake. They realized that on one of the battlefields on the lake's surface, 2 number 1 scholars were still locked in a fierce duel. They had completely forgotten about them, overshadowed by Li Wei's sudden rise to prominence. Sha Jin and the second Palace Master ascended Immortal Tower, while Li Wei returned to the lakeside, joining Su Yuan, Zuoqiu Hongting, and the others as they intently watched the battlefield shrouded in the formation's luminous veil. Mo Duanfeng had already unleashed the 6th strike of his severing wind 7 slashes. His long hair whipped wildly around him, his gaze sharp and resolute, like a fire god or demon. The intent of his blade swept across the battlefield, drawing all the spiritual chi from his wind mansion into a single, devastating strike. Whoosh! Ji Yu Junxiang neither used a spiritual artifact nor retreated to evade. From the springs in his palms, visible vortexes of chi coalesced, transforming into twin tornadoes. Within these swirling maelstroms, countless immortal sutra scriptures flickered incessantly. The reincarnated Emperor Junxiang's arms and fingers glowed with a crystalline clarity, like divine jade carved by the gods themselves, his skin veiled in an ethereal protective radiance. Boom. The twin vortexes in his palms neutralized the lethal force of the Wind Mansion Emperor's blade. His hands struck the blade's body with pinpoint accuracy. Another deafening metallic clang reverberated as Jiyu Junxiang's palm deflected the heavenly mandate blade's trajectory. Li Weiyi's expression grew grave. Jiyu Junxiang was indeed extraordinarily formidable. Mo Duanfeng's sixth strike in the mid-fourth realm had sent Meng Kui staggering backward, his arms bleeding. Now, with his cultivation advanced and his blade's power amplified, he still couldn't inflict even a scratch on Jiyu Junxiang. Zing! Zing! The air around North Lake resonated with the hum of blades. Without the slightest pause, Mo Duanfeng roared, "Ancestral Field Immortal Blade." From his ancestral field, rivers of spiritual qi poured forth like a tidal surge, converging into his arms and hands. The meridian veins within his arms visibly expanded with explosive force. The sheer eruption of spiritual qi sent Jiyu Junxiang flying backward over 300 meters. Finally, I've seen this strike. The thought flashed through the minds of all the first sequence experts on the immortal ranking, including Li Weiyi. And, of course, Jiyu Junxiang, who stood opposite Mo Duanfeng. Jiyu Junxiang's expression turned unprecedentedly solemn. He spread his arms wide, and the myriad inscriptions artifact, the Shenyu furnace, flew out from his back heart's central spring, hovering in midair. The Shenyu furnace, shaped like a human head, released a cloud of ghostly flames, transforming the night sky into an eerie, illusory spectacle like a phantom sun. Whoosh! Jiyu Junxiang soared into the air, spiritual qi erupting from all 9 of his 9 springs, coalescing into 9 long rivers that surged into the Shenyu furnace. In an instant, the Shenyu furnace's true power awakened. Its activation speed far surpassed Li Weiyi's and even the Tai Sui Earth monarchs. This was the perfection of the 9 springs. This was profound perception. The martial mystic Tao Heavenly Emperor's authority erupted from the Shenyu furnace. The furnace, still shaped like a head, rapidly sprouted a neck, chest, arms, and legs, resembling the rebirth of the ancient celestial Emperor Shenyu. With mighty strides, it charged toward Mo Duanfeng's peerless, heaven-splitting strike. The elders in Immortal Tower abruptly ceased their deliberations and turned their gazes toward North Lake. The blade light of the ancestral field Immortal Blade blazed with unparalleled brilliance, slicing across the miles-long battlefield like a waterfall of light. The edge of the battlefield's formation barrier trembled violently under the impact. This strike was overwhelmingly domineering and sharp, causing even the great immortal cultivators, some of whom had lived for centuries, to shake their heads, acknowledging their inability to withstand it. Li Weiyi's entire body tensed, his pupils contracting like a bowstring drawn to its limit. He knew that if Mo Duanfeng's strike failed to cripple Jiyu Junxiang beyond recovery, there would be no chance for a counterattack. This was a strike of life or death, one not to be unleashed lightly. What a devastating strike. It has pushed Jiyu Junxiang to his absolute limit. Can he withstand it? Su Yuan murmured to himself. Boom. The ancient heavenly Emperor Shenyu was shattered into fragments by the blade, sending the Shenyu furnace flying. Jiyu Junxiang immediately activated his imperial technique, summoning the illusory projection of a 9-layered ancient pagoda. The blade light shattered it instantly, forcing him to retreat 3 miles, a trickle of crimson blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. He had sustained severe internal injuries. Across the battlefield, Mo Duanfeng stood disheveled, his hair wild, both hands still gripping the blade in a slashing stance. Gasping for breath, Mo Duanfeng stared in despair at Jiyu Junxiang, who remained standing across from him. He felt as if he were facing not a human, but a sacred mountain. His arms grew weak, the blade drooping until its tip touched the ground. I've lost, Mo Duanfeng said, his voice heavy with defeat. Jiyu Junxiang straightened, his spiritual artifact robe bearing a long tear. With unwavering solemnity, he met Mo Duanfeng's gaze. At the same cultivation realm, you are the first to wound me and the only opponent to force me to use my full strength. In a life-or-death battle, driven by desperation, rage, and hatred, the power of your final strike would reach an even higher level. I might not be able to withstand it. A self-deprecating smile twisted Mo Duanfeng's lips. I knew all along. You saw through my weakness long ago. If not for your desire to witness that final strike, I would never have been able to unleash it. The greatest flaw of Mo Duanfeng's ancestral field Immortal Blade was its inability to be used directly. He had to build momentum through the first 6 slashes, layer by layer, before executing the 7th strike. Jiyu Junxiang could have easily disrupted his initial 6 slashes, defeating him with far less effort. However, I will continue my cultivation, honing these 7 slashes to an even sharper edge. When the time comes, I will challenge you again. But remember, your true opponent is not me. Mo Duanfeng's eyes regained their brilliant luster, all traces of dejection vanished. He hoisted the heavenly mandate blade over his shoulder and turned to leave with an indescribable air of freedom. At that moment, Mo Duanfeng finally understood the invaluable lessons he had learned during his trials in the Void Ruins ancient kingdom. It was precisely because of that experience that he could so easily shake off the despair of his defeat against the ancestral field immortal blade. Instead of being crushed, his inner fighting spirit burned even brighter. Seeing that Ji Junxiang had neither taken advantage of his weakened state to inflict further injury nor looked down on his opponent after victory, Li Wei relaxed from his tense posture. With absolute sincerity, he offered the highest praise. Ji Junxiang has truly lived up to his reputation. He is stronger than any opponent I have ever faced. Snow fell in swirling flurries. Tang Wanzhou's ethereal figure, carrying the divine snow sword, glided step by step across the frozen lake surface toward the battlefield where Ji Junxiang stood. With each step, the lake water froze in her wake, foot by foot. The snow fell so densely it obscured the sky, shrouding the world in a blinding white veil. Beneath her effortless grace, Tang Wanzhou radiated an unparalleled aura of pride and arrogance. His 7 blades lack fluidity, but my 14 swords have achieved perfect harmony, their spiritual qi soaring to the heavens, their intent reaching the heart of the sword, Tang Wanzhou declared, stepping through the shimmering veil of the formation and onto the battlefield as if parting water. Her clear, bright eyes swept across Ji Junxiang. Instantly, every snowflake between them sharpened into a blade. Zuoqiu Hongting turned to Li Wei, her gaze filled with disbelief. Tang Wanzhou is far too proud and confident to challenge Ji Junxiang while he's injured. How did you persuade her? As the number 1 scholar of the Sword Dao Imperial Court, challenging Ji Junxiang at this moment would inevitably draw overwhelming criticism. Anyone might see such an advantage, but Tang Wanzhou never would. Enduring condemnation, defying her own principles, and sacrificing her reputation, all to help Li Wei further wound Ji Junxiang, transcended mere victory or defeat. How could Zuoqiu Hongting not be moved? A bitter, indescribable feeling welled up in Li Wei's heart. He steeled himself, turned, and strode away. Taoist Su Yuan, let's go. We need to see Crown Prince Jingxuan. Everyone was supporting him in their own way, giving their utmost to help him face a struggle with virtually no chance of victory. How could Li Wei not prepare with every ounce of his being? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 7. The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 52, 727, Jing Zan. 52nd of Volume 7. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Su Yuan invited Zuoqiu Hongting to join them. The 3 of them left the manor housing the Jade Tablet of the Earth ranking, moving swiftly in 3 streaks of light to avoid being intercepted by cultivators from various realms who admired the Jazi 60-year ranking's top-ranked cultivator. The Earth ranking's number 1 cultivator was always a legendary figure among the younger generation of each era. If Li Wei achieved great things, cultivators throughout the 60-year cycle would feel a sense of pride. I lived in the same era as an immortal being, fortunate enough to witness his brilliance in Xiaoyao capital. Back then, I was full of youthful ambition, and he was still a young prodigy. Looking back now, it was just a fleeting encounter. As they passed a 3-tiered painted barge moored by the lake, Shui Ding and Mo Duanfeng were waiting beneath snow-laden trees nearby. Shui Ding called out, ranking leader Southern Dragon, do you have a moment to join us for a drink? Brother Su Yuan, please wait for me a moment. Li Wei strode toward the pair, stopping about 6 or 7 steps away. He glanced at Mo Duanfeng, who stood calmly with a metal sword case slung across his back. How are you? Were you injured? Just a minor scratch. Nothing to worry about. Mo Duanfeng stood ramrod straight, his robes as stiff as iron, his number 1 scholar's vitality soul undiminished. His expression turned grave as he asked, did you see that battle earlier? Ji Junxiang's speed in activating the myriad inscriptions artifact and executing imperial technique was terrifyingly fast. Only by unleashing the ancestral field immortal blade could I break through Shenyu Heavenly Emperor's physique and the 9-layered demonic pagoda heaven-piercing technique. Have you devised a countermeasure? Li Wei narrowed his eyes, gazing past Mo Duanfeng and Shui Ding toward the distant battlefield on the lake. There, Tang Wanzhou and Ji Junxiang's battle had reached its peak. 2 9-layered demonic pagodas rose simultaneously, colliding like towering mountains. The lake's icy surface shattered with a thunderous crack, sending waves crashing against the shore and rocking the painted pleasure boats. Ji Junxiang was unleashing the 9-layered demonic pagoda heaven-piercing technique. Tang Wanzhou, meanwhile, had summoned a 9-layered blood jade demonic pagoda. This pagoda, seized from the demon child, was a myriad inscriptions artifact containing the 9 springs of the Holy Infant. Originally crafted by Crown Prince Yu Daojun of the Demonic Kingdom, the pagoda shared deep roots with the Demon Kingdom's 9-layered demonic pagoda heaven-piercing technique. If Tang Wanzhou has a countermeasure against him, how could I not have one? Li Wei's eyes blazed with sharp light, it's truly regrettable that I can't battle Ji Junxiang tonight. He retrieved a camel bell from his cosmic pouch and tossed it to Mo Duanfeng. This bell proved invaluable in my battle against Tai Sui Earth Monarch. Then, he secretly transmitted a message: I've already killed Chu Yudian. When he defeated Tai Sui Earth Monarch, he hadn't used this replica of the evil camel bell, but the genuine artifact. He deliberately feigned weakness to conceal his true strength. Mo Duanfeng took the camel bell, his ears twitching. He looked at Li Weiyi with a mixture of surprise and delight. Really? Haha, that's great. Wei Yi, you've done me a tremendous help. You've saved the reputation of this new first-ranked scholar. Now I no longer doubt your ability to defeat Ji Yu Junxiang. Mo Duanfeng knew Chu Yudian's formidable strength all too well. Killing him would have been no easy feat for Ji Yu Junxiang, yet Li Weiyi had already accomplished it. Unfortunately, this victory couldn't be made public. Shui Ding gathered his 6 wings behind his back, elegantly holding a jade wine cup between his fingertips. What cryptic game are you two playing? Stop standing here in the cold wind, Southern Dragon Li. Quickly invite your friends aboard my Wing Dynasty's pleasure barge. Fine wine, exquisite cuisine, and beautiful women await. And to top it off, a duel between 2 number 1 scholars for entertainment. What could be more delightful? 1,000 years from now, when we reunite in the Nirvana realm, we'll still remember the dazzling lanterns of this New Year's Eve. Mo Duanfeng pointed to Zhuao Hongting's ethereal Taoist figure standing beside the road above. That is Brother Wei's fiancé, Zhuao Hongting. Prince Shui, please mind your tongue and refrain from making inappropriate remarks. Ah. That person from the East City Heavenly Pavilion, who spent a whole day and night. Shui Ding covered his mouth, noticing Li Weiyi's gaze across from him, sharp as a sword. Dozens of steps away, atop a snow-covered slope, Su Yuan's clear voice rang out. The Holy Dynasty's number 1 scholar and the Wing Dynasty's crowned prince, would you care to join us as guests at Tianshu Pavilion? It would be an honor. I've long wished to become acquainted with Taoist Su Yuan and Prince Jingxuan. What a pity the Wing Dynasty's princesses and the sect's eldest senior sister in the painted barge can't meet Southern Dragon this time. Perhaps they have to wait for another opportunity. Mo Duanfeng and Shui Ding accepted without hesitation. Having grown up in the vortex of power and fame, their instincts for opportunity were sharp. They understood the rarity of a chance to connect with the immortal sect in the Yuheng immortal dynasty. This time, they were undoubtedly benefiting from Li Weiyi's influence. It wasn't about immediate gains or needing to curry favor. Rather, having such connections was invaluable. These relationships served as stepping stones, sources of privileged information, and competitive advantages over other emperors' disciples and princes in both the Holy Dynasty and the Wing Dynasty. When the Holy Dynasty and the Wing Dynasty sought to establish communication, trade, or Dao technique exchanges with Central Plains, they might prioritize Mo Duanfeng and Shui Ding for these missions. This was valuable networking. The 3rd floor of Tianshu Pavilion was spacious, its walls and pillars adorned with jade lanterns. Only a handful of cultivators from the Yuheng immortal dynasty had traveled to southern Yingzhou, numbering just over a dozen. Among them, only 5 appeared young, including Su Yuan, all of whom had come to explore the region and experience its customs. Prince Jingxuan escorted Li Weiyi and his companions from the 1st floor. As they ascended, they reminisced about their journey to Li province a year ago, recalling how Li Weiyi had personally killed a disciple of the Taiyan sect. Li Weiyi was mildly surprised. I didn't realize your highness and I had such a connection. At that time, I wished to keep our ancestral rites low-key to avoid causing a stir. Otherwise, we might have met a year earlier. Upon reaching the 3rd floor, Prince Jingxuan introduced Li Weiyi to the 3 young cultivators from Central Plains with a warm smile. Li Weiyi, in turn, introduced Zhuao Hongting, Mo Duanfeng, and Shui Ding to the group. The 2 sides exchanged polite greetings. The 3 young cultivators from Central Plains each cultivated different paths. One practiced the Tao, another martial mystic Tao, and the 3rd psychic power. Their auras were deep and profound, clearly indicating they were far from being within 100 years of age. I never imagined the Dragon Mountain Range truly held the tombs of so many martial mystic Tao heavenly emperors from Yingzhou's history, Li Weiyi remarked sincerely after taking his seat. I had my doubts before. Mo Duanfeng telepathically transmitted to Li Weiyi, in southern Yingzhou, martial mystic Tao heavenly emperors often arise, and with them, kingdoms are born. When a martial mystic Tao heavenly emperor falls, the kingdom perishes. Few dynasties last beyond 3 generations. Yet the Yuheng immortal dynasty has endured for 13 generations in Central Plains, boasting an unparalleled history. The royal clan consistently produces martial mystic Tao heavenly emperors to sustain the kingdom's destiny. Their foundation runs deeper than any can fathom. Prince Jingxuan, seated to Li Weiyi's right at the head of the table, spoke warmly. The Dragon Mountain Range connects the domain of the Dead Spirits Mist and the Blood Sea Coffin Dock, forming the dragon's head and spine of the Yingzhou dragon vein. It's no surprise that even the most formidable experts might lurk there. Has your highness ever visited the Blood Sea Coffin Dock? Li Weiyi asked. Prince Jingxuan nodded, a nostalgic glint in his eyes. The blood sea stretches endlessly, a convergence of coffins from countless realms, a sight truly awe-inspiring. Now I understand why those who cultivate to become true immortals immediately leave Yingzhou upon achieving immortal realm. The blood sea coffin dock offers a glimpse of the outside world's splendor and allure. I longed to set sail then, but my cultivation level forbade it. Moreover, merely observing the eerie and terrifying coffins within the coffin dock made me realize that the Yingzhou land I see may only be the calm surface of a lake. In the hidden depths, another, far more terrifying world must exist. Therefore, even an immortal dynasty or a kingdom must act with caution. Take the demon race of the great wilderness demon plains, for example, their ignorance breeds recklessness, and they're destined for disaster. Li Wei nodded in deep agreement, recalling the blood sea coffin dock. Even a powerhouse like Master Coffin had approached it with extreme caution. Since ancient times, where had the great terrors that emerged from these otherworldly coffins gone? Perhaps Yu Jingxuan was right, the Yingzhou we see is merely the tip of an iceberg, the part that rises above the sea. Each word exchanged between Li Wei and Prince Jingxuan sent tremors through Mo Duanfeng and Shui Ding's hearts, igniting a fierce longing for Li province in the extreme southern desolate lands. What ancient mysteries must lie hidden there? The two secretly vowed to embark on a journey to broaden their horizons. When they looked at Li Wei again, they felt the same awe as Prince Jingxuan and Su Yuan, an overwhelming sense of mystery, followed by apprehension and a chill. They resolved to report this matter to the highest echelons of the Holy Dynasty and Wing Dynasty upon their return. As cups clinked and wine flowed, they exchanged tales of Li Province and Central Plains ancient lore. Li Wei's eyes widened with wonder, deeply impressed by Yingzhou's vastness and the world's boundless expanse. He promised to travel extensively in the future. After 3 rounds of wine, Prince Jingxuan sighed. If the Zhu Li gods weren't true immortals, they were certainly powerful figures in the Xuanhuan realm, possessing boundless lifespans. How could they appear briefly in Li province and then vanish without a trace? There must be a profound secret hidden here, and they may not be truly dead. Moreover, he paused, his voice tinged with mystery. The Zhu Li gods seemed to materialize out of thin air, shrouded in an aura of enigma. The Xuanhuan realm was the realm of the martial mystic Dao heavenly emperors. Kun represented the earth, and Yuan signified the origin. Those who aligned themselves with the heaven laws were considered heavenly emperors. Li Wei secretly admired Yu Jingxuan's keen insight, but he already knew the truth. In the immortal realm space beneath Burial Immortal Town, he had witnessed the Zhu Li gods burying themselves within the very monument they had constructed. The 3 body transcending pills will take at least 5 more days to reach Xiaoyao capital, Prince Jingxuan finally stated, shifting the conversation to the matter at hand after satisfying his curiosity. Li Wei had anticipated this. Clearly, it was his battle against Tai Sui Earth Monarch that had brought him to the attention of the Central Plains elite, sparking their interest and rekindling memories of the immortal encounter in Li province. Now they sought to forge an alliance. The speed with which news had traveled back to the Yuheng immortal dynasty in Central Plains, followed by the arrival of the medicinal pills, far exceeded Li Wei's expectations. The messenger must be a transcendent being to have moved with such speed. Li Wei inquired, Prince Jingxuan, name your price. No matter how high, I will pay it. The fact that they had revealed the Demon Kingdom's production of body-transcending pills and dispatched a master to deliver them to Xiaoyao capital was already an immense favor. Trying to get it for free. Li Wei had never considered such a thing. Su Yuan was about to speak when Prince Jingxuan raised a hand to stop him. He then said slowly, the Emperor herbs required to refine the body-transcending pill, the Nirvana Divine Bodhi grass, alone costs over 10,000 spiritual crystals. The remaining auxiliary ingredients, the pill refiner's fee, and the delivery fee all add up to a massive sum. A price of 30,000 spiritual crystals for 3 body-transcending pills wouldn't be unreasonable. Zuoqiu Hongting, Mo Duanfeng, and Shui Ding, who had been listening silently and had no idea what a body-transcending pill was, all held their breath at this revelation. 30,000 spiritual crystals. An emperor-grade spiritual pill. Shui Ding, even as a prince, had never seen so much money before, his eyes widening in disbelief. The body-transcending pill was essentially a failed emperor-grade spiritual pill, so its production costs were naturally terrifyingly high. Prince Jingxuan smiled wryly. It costs as much as an emperor-grade spiritual pill to make, but its value doesn't even match that of an emperor-grade spiritual pill. Brother Wei, how should I price it? I want to avoid shortchanging myself while preserving our friendship. A myriad inscriptions artifact, a powerful spiritual tool, typically cost only around 10,000 spiritual crystals. Li Wei couldn't afford 30,000 spiritual crystals. Of course, you should sell it at the medicinal pill's actual value, Zuoqiu Hongting interjected. Your Highness, you can't take advantage of us just because of your status. Who can afford an emperor-grade spiritual pill? Then how about a compromise? Li Wei suggested, 15,000 spiritual crystals. From now on, I, Li Wei, will consider your highness a friend. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 53, 728 News of Senior Sister Jian Nan. 53rd of Volume 7. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei couldn't afford the body-transcending pill, but the Lingxiao Palace and the Void Ruins ancient clan could. He decided to borrow from Lu Tianchen first. No matter what, he had to secure the body-transcending pill. Zuoqiu Hongting, Mo Duanfeng, and Shui Ding tried to stop Li Wei, but it was too late. They thought he was being too impulsive and would suffer a great loss. Prince Jingxuan's expression turned solemn as he let out a long sigh. My recent ancestral pilgrimage to Li Province was deeply unsettling. The Meng mountain range is riddled with countless tomb-robbing tunnels, their brazenness shocking. I also saw our founding ancestors' tomb, once revered throughout the realms, now overgrown with weeds and neglected, resembling a forgotten grave. Unfortunately, the journey from Central Plains to Li Province is arduous. Multiple spatial teleportations alone require a vast sum of spiritual crystals. Moreover, the dangerous Nether Realm crossings make the journey exceedingly dangerous. A round trip would incur immense expenses. Brother Wei, if you could dispatch someone to guard our ancestral tomb and maintain it annually, you would be doing this crown prince an immeasurable favor. This far surpasses the value of 3 body-transcending pills. Li Wei hadn't expected Prince Jingxuan to be such a remarkable individual. Ordinary guarding, offerings, and maintenance would be a simple matter. My only concern is attracting the attention of powerful figures. Prince Jingxuan replied, during this pilgrimage, the Grand Preceptor of the Immortal Dynasty reinforced the tomb's formation. Any trespassers would find no way out. In that case, I thank your highness for your assistance. When I next visit Li Province, we shall share wine and laughter. Li Wei raised his cup and drained it in one gulp. Prince Jingxuan also drank 3 cups in succession, then smiled, there's no need to thank me for any assistance. We simply encountered each other's difficulties and were able to help each other. From now on, just call me Jingxuan. In Prince Jingxuan's eyes, this was the beginning of a long-term alliance with the Zhu Li clan, a mutually beneficial arrangement with no downside. Li Wei, on the other hand, believed that entrusting this matter to Kang Li would ensure its successful resolution, while also forging a favorable connection with the Yuheng Immortal Dynasty. Setting down his wine cup, Li Wei suddenly remembered something, his expression shifting. Esteemed friends from Central Plains, with your vast knowledge and experience, have any of you ever heard of a woman named Jianan? Jianan was the name of the Chan sect's eldest senior sister. When Li Wei was a child, she had stayed at their sect for 3 years. During that time, senior sister Jianan spoke the language of Yingzhou and even taught him the Yingzhou scriptures. The young cultivators from Central Plains racked their brains, searching their memories. In the end, they all shook their heads gently. Li Wei felt a pang of disappointment. His eldest senior sister's connection to Yingzhou had always been one of his primary motivations for venturing out into the world. Jianan, the Grand Preceptor of the Yuheng Immortal Dynasty, clad in an earth-yellow Taoist robe, returned from the Immortal Tower and appeared on the 3rd floor. This name sounds familiar. I seem to recall reading about her in an ancient text long ago, but I can't quite place it. How strange. The young cultivators rose to their feet and bowed in unison. The Grand Preceptor raised a hand to stop them. Upon returning to Central Plains, I will thoroughly search my records. If I find any information, I will send word to little friend Li. By the time they left Tianshu Pavilion, it was already the 4th quarter of high 9 to 11 p.m. hour. Only 1 hour remained until the Immortal Ascension competition began. The 4 hurried through the snow-swept streets. Mo Duanfeng said, fortunately, that you fellow didn't try to extort you for 15,000 or even 30,000 spiritual crystals. Otherwise, I would have questioned his character and the practices of the Central Plains Immortal Dynasty. As it stands, he seems worth befriending. More than worth befriending, it's like receiving charcoal in the snow. This favor will definitely need to be repaid in the future. Li Wei glanced at the battlefield on the lake, where 2 new Immortal Ascension beings were now clashing. Tang Wanzhou and Ji Yu Junxiang's battle had already concluded. Zuoqiu Hongting asked, what exactly is this body-transcending pill? Why would you spend such an exorbitant sum to acquire it? Li Wei surveyed their surroundings before telepathically sharing the information he had learned with the group. The Holy Dynasty and the Wing Dynasty, both bordering the Demon Kingdom, were engaged in their own ascension competitions. Upon hearing this news, Mo Duanfeng and Shui Ding felt their scalps tingle, unable to suppress their shock and panic. Mo Duanfeng held his breath for a long moment before solemnly declaring, this information alone is worth far more than 30,000 spiritual crystals to the Holy Dynasty. If a powerful figure among the 8th generation immortal cultivators were to secretly consume this pill and break through to the 7th immortal realm, it would catch the Holy Dynasty completely off guard. Shui Ding's expression was grave. He nodded deeply in agreement. Brother Wei, the Wing dynasty owes you an immense debt of gratitude. Knowing this information changes everything. With this knowledge, we can immediately prepare countermeasures. The people of Central Plains would never have leaked this information unless they were trying to befriend you. Mo Duanfeng was in a hurry. With only an hour remaining for the Holy Dynasty to adjust their strategies for the 7th, 8th, and 9th generation Immortal Practitioners, Immortal Ascension competition, he needed to meet with the Holy Dynasty's Transcendent immediately. I won't waste time with thanks. Take this. Mo Duanfeng produced a cosmic pouch and handed it to Li Wei. What's this? Li Wei asked, accepting the pouch with curiosity. Mo Duanfeng transmitted a secret message, an identity from the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness. The token, clothing, spiritual light portrait, social connections, and factional background are all detailed within. While you're skilled in the transformation technique, concealing your cultivation level and combat prowess is difficult. You'll need an established identity from that region as cover. Also, the Holy Dynasty's forces will begin withdrawing at dawn. Yao Qingshan will disguise herself as you and travel with us, hoping to lure away some powerful figures from the Demon Kingdom. Time is short. That's all I can explain for now. Until we meet again in the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness. Mo Duanfeng finished speaking and strode away. Shui Ding, standing nearby with little hope, tentatively asked, Brother Wei, would you consider selling a set of blood-floating pagoda demon armor to the Wing Dynasty? We'll match the price offered by Thousand Mile Mountain. Shall we discuss this on the painted pleasure boat? Li Wei replied. Shui Ding's face lit up with surprise. He grabbed Li Wei's hand and dashed off, whispering as they ran, let's go. Honestly, I think the native forces in the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness are too strong. Some of their elites are beyond even the Demon Kingdom and Holy Dynasty's control. Your three-clan alliance has no roots there, you're unfamiliar with the territory and could suffer heavy losses. Old Mo is undoubtedly capable, but the Immortal Ascension competition involves all 3 generations of youth. As the 9th generation's #1 scholar from the Holy Dynasty, he'll inevitably face interference from the 8th and 7th generation Holy Dynasty Imperial Academy disciples, preventing him from having absolute authority. In the Immortal Ascension competition, the interests of the life realm take precedence. There are countless hidden agendas and complex human motivations at play. Why not come to the disputed territory between the Demon Kingdom and Wing Dynasty, the Sagur Mountains? The conflicts here are far more straightforward. Moreover, among the 9th generation Immortal Ascendants, our strength is inferior to yours. We won't force you to do anything against your will. Zhuo Xuanhuan stared at the retreating figures of the 2 men ahead, gently biting her crystalline red lips before activating her body technique to follow them. Her true purpose for boarding the Wing Dynasty's pleasure barge had nothing to do with the princess or the sect's eldest senior sister. Li Wei and Shui Ding sat indoors, activating a formation to conduct a private discussion. Why do you need the 5 fiends heavenly wind? Shui Ding asked, pondering Li Wei's request, to refine a formation. Or for talismans. He knew Li Wei's other identity, a great holy spiritual master at the peak of the 4th realm. Li Wei replied, it's said your Wing clan can communicate with wind spirits, making it much easier to subdue the heavenly wind. 3 strands of 5 fiends heavenly wind in exchange for a blood-floating pagoda demon armor, what do you say? A fair trade, wouldn't you agree? The greatest weakness of Li Wei's great wind, fire, thunder, and lightning formation lay in its wind aspect. He currently possessed only 2 strands of 4 fiends heavenly wind. Naturally, it's a fair trade, Shui Ding cautioned, but the 5 fiends heavenly wind is ferocious. It can harm not only others but also its wielder, making it extremely difficult to control. Even a great immortal cultivator at the peak of the 5th realm would fear the power of a single strand. Can you truly manage 3? Shui Ding's ability to rank among the top 10 on the immortal ranking was largely due to his mastery of a formidable strand of 5 fiends heavenly wind. Li Wei stared at him for a long moment. Do I have any other choice? Shui Ding immediately understood. Fine. 3 5 fiends heavenly winds can only be obtained by the clan's transcendence. Where should I find you after midnight? Fate Gambling House. After settling the matter with Shui Ding, Li Wei stepped out of the painted barge and looked at Zhuo Xuanhuan, who stood at the bow. She gently cradled her jade-white chin, her gaze inward, her long, curved lashes framing eyes that seemed to gleam with a thoughtful smile, as if she had gained some insight. Bathed in the barge's lantern light, her expression was vividly alive, radiating a serene yet vibrant spiritual energy. Haunting, what joyful thought has struck you? Li Wei asked. Zhuo Xuanhuan smiled confidently and triumphantly, I've developed a fully formed idea for the opening battle of the Immortal Ascension competition. Would you be interested in hearing it? The 2 disembarked from the barge and stepped onto the shore. I'm very interested in your insights, Li Wei replied, well aware of Zhuo Xuanhuan's talent and wisdom, please, tell me more. Senior brother Shenji. Just as Zhuo Xuanhuan was about to speak, a figure in Taoist robes flashed into existence before them. Li Weiyi's gaze fell upon the young man across from him, the top martial mystic cultivator of the younger generation from the Calamity Crossing Temple, whom he had briefly met in the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom. Shenji exuded an otherworldly, reclusive aura. His eyes were clouded, lacking the sharp intensity they had held during their previous encounter. He said, "I've come to declare war. I felt we should meet once more before hostilities begin. Li Weiyi, I have no choice but to obey my master's command." "You need not feel conflicted, guilty, or hold back," Li Weiyi replied, "because I certainly won't show any mercy. Immortal Ascension competition isn't just about competition, it's about transcending our inner weaknesses and negative emotions. Then let's show no mercy to each other." With his mind now clear, Shenji's face showed no hesitation. "Tang Wanzhou and Ji Yu Junxiang have both suffered severe injuries. You should go see her. She sacrificed greatly for you. Cherish this bond." With those words, he turned and strode away. A fleeting expression of pain flashed across Li Weiyi's eyes before he swiftly banished the distraction, regaining his composure. Noticing the strange look in Xuanhuan Hongting's eyes, he sighed inwardly. This young master Shenji truly means to show no mercy. His first strike pierced my heart, and his second cleaved the space between Hongting and me, seeking to tear us apart. Both strikes landed squarely on my weaknesses. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 54, 729, The Ancient Land of the Great Tao of Alchemy. 54th of Volume 7. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. You must cherish this bond. What bond? Xuanhuan Hongting's bright eyes, like autumn waters reflecting stars, held both curiosity and a probing scrutiny. She seemed determined to pierce Li Weiyi's calm facade and glimpse the deepest ripples in his heart. The camaraderie of the Sentinel Spirit Army, the brotherhood of comrades in arms, the mutual support. There are too many to name, just as with you and me. How could our bond be explained in a few words? Li Weiyi forced himself to resist the mental trap Shenji had laid, suppressing his urgent desire to visit Tang Wanzhou. He turned to greet Nangong and Lu Yi, who were hurrying toward them. As if they were his saviors, he rushed forward. You two have come at the perfect time. I have something important to discuss with you. Led by Nangong, Li Weiyi and Xuanhuan Hongting quickly arrived at the assembly hall where the young martial mystic cultivators of the Three Clan Alliance had gathered. The atmosphere in the formation sealed room was heavy. Maps covered the walls, the 100 realms of the living, the chaos zone, the demon kingdom, the wolf sovereign wilderness. Terrain, political boundaries, and power distributions were all meticulously marked. Stacks of data, Nangong's personal collection, lay piled high. Nangong laid out the plan in detail, then turned to Li Weiyi, asking about his intentions. At dawn, I won't be traveling with you. I'll stay in Xiaoyao capital for a few days, Li Weiyi said. This should keep about half of the demon kingdom's 9th generation immortal ascendants tied up. Nangong had anticipated that he would choose to travel alone. Only by traveling alone could he more easily evade enemies and conceal himself, shifting from a defensive position to an offensive one. She asked, "Will you come to the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness? How long will it take you to get there?" "Even if I come, it will be after shaking off my pursuers and sneaking in," Li Weiyi replied after a moment's thought. "I heard Ji Yu Junxiang was severely injured. In your opinion, who will lead the demon kingdom in his absence?" Ji Yu Junxiang and Tang Wanzhou both suffered severe internal injuries and each lost an arm. It will take at least a month for them to recover fully. Nangong added, only Ji Yu Junxiang can keep all the 9th generation immortal ascendants in check. With him injured, the various factions within the demon kingdom will likely cooperate for the next crucial month. However, any unexpected developments requiring immediate action will inevitably lead to discord and chaos. Currently, the demon kingdom's 9th generation immortal ascendants are divided into 4 main factions. The first faction is led by Ku Yao and Wenrenting Hai, who have gathered a large number of demon race experts. Their strongest member is Shan Sheng. Their main force targeting you consists of approximately 10 first sequence experts. They've also gathered powerful trackers from the Bear Clan, Bat Clan, Dog Clan, Insect Race, and others. The second force is assembled by the Chong Clan and the 2 Demon Lord clans. The Calamity Crossing Temple's elite cultivators are concentrated in this group. Their strongest member is Shenji. Leading them is Chong Yujian. You should be familiar with his intellect, and he knows you very well too. The third force is led by the Demon Queen, the Sacred Dark Family, and the Crown Prince faction, commanded by Yu Zhan and Cao Lin. This group maintains a low profile. But given the Demon Queen and the Crown Prince's cunning, their hidden motives make them all the more dangerous. The fourth force is led by Long Qi, comprising 9-headed dragon, leader of the Demon Prime Ministers, the 2 Demon Lord clans, and numerous great demon officials. It's primarily composed of border army elites, supplemented by a large number of demonic path and yin-yang path cultivators. Their battle beasts and dead spirits are particularly formidable. There was originally a fifth force, the royal clan's forces, but most of them perished in the imperial clan court. In my opinion, this fourth force will likely track us through the night, closely monitoring the immortal ascension beings of the three-clan alliance before moving into the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness. The major powers in the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness all have ties to the Demon Kingdom's border army. The Demon Kingdom's conflicts with the Holy Dynasty, Wing Dynasty, and Rice Palace will likely erupt between the 7th and 8th generation immortal cultivators. With all arrangements settled, Li Wei turned to Xuanhuan Hongting, who had remained silent since entering the room. Hong Ting. Li Wei called out, his tone softening slightly, what mature idea did you mention earlier? Can we speak privately? Xuanhuan Hongting raised her gaze, her eyes briefly sweeping over Nangong and Lu Yi. Li Wei escorted Nangong and Lu Yi out of the room. At the door, Li Wei retrieved a radiant, medicinal-scented healing spiritual pill and handed it to Lu Yi. Please take this to Xuanhuan Tower in the Sword Dao Imperial Court. Any message? Lu Yi asked, accepting the spiritual pill. Li Wei conveyed the news of the body-transcending pill to them telepathically. Tell Tang Wanzhou about this. It will give her an explanation for the Sword Dao Imperial Court. Tang Wanzhou certainly didn't lack healing spiritual pills, but what else could Li Wei offer her? Returning to the room, he reactivated the formation. With only the brothers remaining, the atmosphere in the room seemed to shift subtly. Xuanhuan Hongting walked to the table, pausing before speaking. She raised a hand to smooth non-existent stray hairs at her temples, betraying her inner turmoil. I find it hard to believe that a woman as extraordinary and independent as Tang Wanzhou could fall in love. Especially with someone else's fiancé. Let's not dwell on this. Time is short. We need to focus on the main issue. She unfurled an exotic beast hide map across the table. Do you remember this map we seized from Fu Wenyan? The Azure Cloud Realm, Li Wei replied instantly. Of course he remembered. Back then, he and Xuanhuan Hongting had each taken a page of the earthly tome from Fu Wenyan. They had speculated that Fu Wenyan's copy of the earthly tome had been found within the Azure Cloud Realm. The Qingyun Azure Cloud Realm is just Fu Wenyan's name for that place, because he discovered relics left behind by Senior Qingyun Azure Cloud there. Xuanhuan Hongting's finger landed on a marked location on the map. This isn't a life realm, but a hidden secret realm, 13,000 miles from the Calamity Crossing Temple. Have you been there? Li Wei asked. Xuanhuan Hongting nodded slightly, I only entered the first layer. Fu Wenyan likely only reached the first layer as well. I couldn't break through the formation guarding the second layer, so I had to retreat. With our current cultivation levels, we should be able to manage it. Did you find anything of value? Li Wei pressed. Xuanhuan Hongting paused thoughtfully before replying with a question of her own. Don't you find it strange? Senior Qingyun attained enlightenment at the Zhongsheng Academy, yet he established a secret realm countless miles away, near the Calamity Crossing Temple. Because the Calamity Crossing Temple didn't exist back then, Li Wei explained. The temple was established 20,000 years ago. The era of Sage Qingyun predates this by far. Exactly, Xuanhuan Hongting's tone deepened. Have you heard of the great alchemical movement initiated by Senior Qingyun and others around 100,000 years ago? It shattered the barriers to cultivation and broke through the shackles of the heavenly Tao. Based on the ruins and residual energy I discovered in the first layer of the secret realm, that place was likely a crucial secret realm for the great alchemical movement. It may also be where Senior Qingyun spent his final days in Yingzhou. That's why I call it the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills. Li Wei was moved, nodding in deep agreement. Something terrifying must have happened, forcing Senior Qingyun to abandon the earthly tome and flee immediately. Li Wei grasped her intention. You want to make the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills the battlefield. A cunning smile curled Xuanhuan Hongting's lips, precisely. The terrain and formations there are complex, with a narrow entrance that's virtually impregnable. Even if the Demon Kingdom's immortal ascension beings outnumber us, they'll struggle to exploit their numerical advantage as long as we hold the entrance. Moreover, the secret realm's interior is vast, with an excellent cultivation environment and abundant spiritual qi. Unlike other secret realms, which are either infested with dead spirit fiends or devoid of spiritual qi, this one allows us to conserve our strength while waiting for the enemy. We might even discover opportunities left behind by the sages. Li Wei pondered for a moment. I have 3 concerns. First, why did Senior Qingyun choose this place for the great alchemical movement? What was special about it? And why did he later abandon it so hastily, even abandoning the earthly tome? Could there be some terrifying hidden danger he couldn't resolve? Could the temple master of Calamity Crossing Temple have chosen that area for their mountain gate for the same reason? Hong Ting, I can't shake the feeling that something's too strange about this. If Fu Wenyan hadn't stumbled upon it, this crucial place might have remained hidden forever. There's definitely something unusual about it. Xuanhuan Hongting had clearly considered this. If you're truly worried, we can leave the second layer formation untouched and avoid going deeper. Nearly 100,000 years have passed. Even if there were any hidden dangers, they would have long been eroded by time. Li Wei thought for a moment, then raised his second concern. Entering the secret realm, wouldn't that violate the rules of the Immortal Ascension competition? The essence of the rules lies in fairness, Xuanhuan Hongting declared. Having thoroughly studied the regulations, she explained, entering a secret realm without pre-arranged formations doesn't violate the rules. It's exploration, not cheating. Third, and most importantly, he continued, his voice growing serious. Li Wei, already somewhat swayed by her arguments, asked, the Calamity Crossing Temple's life realm is located in the Chaos Zone, requiring passage through narrow nether realm of the dead. In these nether realms, the enforcement group's surveillance will be severely disrupted. Wouldn't the Demon Kingdom seize this opportunity to use methods beyond the rules? You possess the Emperor Talisman, Xuanhuan Hongting countered with a raised eyebrow and a smile, are you truly afraid of transcendence attacking you? Of course I fear no transcendence. Li Wei retorted, but what about those below or above the transcendent realm? That's another matter entirely. Xuanhuan Hongting had anticipated this concern, her confidence unwavering. The deeper reason I proposed going to the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills was to leverage external forces. Whose forces? Li Wei asked. The forces of the Zhongsheng Academy. Her eyes gleamed with wisdom, even if you break through another realm alone, you'll be overwhelmed and killed in a siege. But if we involve the Zhongsheng Academy, creating a three-way stalemate, the situation will be entirely different. You mean, telling Meng Kui about the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills? Li Wei's eyes narrowed, instantly grasping her strategy. Exactly, Xuanhuan Hongting nodded. Over the past few days, rumors have been spreading like wildfire in Xiaoyao capital, claiming you stole the Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter of the earthly tome by killing Meng Huolong and Fu Wenyan. Someone is deliberately fueling this narrative. Once everyone accepts this version of events, the Zhongsheng Academy will have a legitimate pretext to target you. Why not seize this opportunity and redirect the conflict toward the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills? As for your concerns about facing 7th Realm Immortal Realm experts or even the Demon Monarch himself in a Nether Realm ambush, those can be easily resolved. The Zhongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness is currently in Xiaoyao Jing. If we lure the Zhongsheng Academy's immortal ascension beings to the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills, would the Demon Monarch dare to act rashly? Wouldn't he fear the Zhongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness lurking in the shadows? Moreover, the Demon Monarch is terrified of the Temple Master of the Calamity Crossing Temple and wouldn't dare approach that place. If we can draw these towering figures, the Zhongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness, the Demon Monarch, and the Temple Master, into this game, they'll become mutually restraining forces at the top. Who would dare violate the established rules under their watchful eyes? Her gaze burned with unwavering resolve, her voice carrying the weight of a desperate gamble. Wei, the situation we face offers only a slim chance of survival through conventional means. Only by acting unexpectedly can we break this deadlock. Only by taking risks can we shift the burden of action and problems onto our enemies. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. The Struggle for Immortal Realm. Chapter 55, 730. The Demon Monarch descends, raising the curtain. 55th of Volume 7. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei wasn't worried about the Zhongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness and the others personally venturing into the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills. He reasoned that if he could anticipate the anomalies and potential dangers within the ancient land, surely the Emperor's consciousness and the heavenly emperors could too. It would be stranger if they recklessly risked their lives. As Xuanhuan Hongting had said, in the first year of the Immortal Ascension competition, only extraordinary measures and calculated risks could turn the tide in a situation where survival was a mere 1 in 10. You've convinced me. Li Wei said, gazing at her slightly weary yet undiminished jade-like face. This detailed plan must have taken considerable effort. Xuanhuan Hongting glanced toward the main gate, as if listening intently. As expected, the people from Zhongsheng Academy have indeed arrived. Meng Kui and Qingshang had come to the Three Clan Alliance's meeting hall. Upstairs, Li Wei pushed open the door with a creak, stepping out followed by Xuanhuan Hongting. The pair leaned against the railing, looking down into the tranquil courtyard below. Meng Kui and Qingshang stood inside the gate, facing Nangong. Meng Kui stood with his arms crossed, cutting straight to the point. There are only 2/4 of an hour left until the Immortal Ascension competition begins. No time for pleasantries. Li Wei, we've brought you the spiritual artifact to break the floating pagoda battle formation. Qingshang waved her sleeve, releasing a burst of spiritual light. A metal chest the size of a door panel materialized in her slender palm, then crashed to the ground, standing upright with a resounding thud. The wide, flat chest swung open. Whoosh! A scarlet treasure bow, 5 feet long, emerged from within. 10 spiritual crystals and 10 immortal golden cores were embedded along the bow's frame. 10 arrows, each similarly adorned with smaller spiritual crystals, lay beside it. Thump, thump. Li Wei hurried down the stairs, glancing at Nangong. Nangong understood immediately, releasing the light spring to create a bright field domain woven from transcendent spiritual qi, sealing them off from the outside world. Meng Kui's eyes gleamed with restrained intensity. Without breaking the floating pagoda battle formation, your defeat is certain. You'll be eliminated on the first day after the Lantern Festival. This bow is an invaluable myriad inscriptions artifact, personally forged by the Zongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness. It can harness the power of the 10 spiritual crystals and 10 immortal golden cores to pierce armor and shatter formations from vast distances. With its assistance and a hit-and-run strategy, you can break through the encirclement. Li Wei sighed in admiration. A truly remarkable bow, a timely gift in our hour of need. But if you believe this bow alone can secure the Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter from the earthly tome, aren't you taking advantage of our desperate situation? Xingshang's smile was as gentle and radiant as jade. If we harbored such intentions, we wouldn't have come here to embarrass ourselves. We only ask for one thing, that you pledge the Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter to Thousand Mile Mountain. If you fall to the Demon Kingdom, the chapter becomes ours. If you win the Immortal Ascension competition, the 10-star treasure bow is yours from this moment forward, and remains yours even after the competition. The Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter, of course, remains yours as well. Meng Kui added, after all, if you concede during the Immortal Ascension competition, all your spiritual artifacts, including the Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter, will be forfeited to the Demon Kingdom. This transaction carries no risk for you. Zuoqiu Hongting immediately seized upon the trap. It sounds straightforward, but is that truly the case? You've timed this perfectly, arriving just 2 hours before the Immortal Ascension competition, precisely to deny us time to consider this carefully. Li Wei immediately countered, his words sharp and incisive. To take, one must first give. Beneath this calm surface lurks deadly intent. Once I strike this deal with you, during the Immortal Ascension competition, I'll face not only the Demon Kingdom but also your Zongsheng Academy's covert attacks. That would be adding insult to injury. Greed will be your downfall. Whether you believe us or not, we have no such intentions, Xingshang said, closing the metal box. Knowing the deal had failed, she prepared to take her leave. The Immortal Ascension competition began the moment we set foot in Xiaoyao capital. If I were truly naive and arrogant, would the Grand Palace Master have staked the life-preserving spring on me? Li Wei glanced at Zuoqiu Hongting. Zuoqiu Hongting stepped forward slightly. Recently, petty individuals have been linking the Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter to the deaths of Meng Huolong and Fu Wenyan. What is their purpose? If these are merely the ramblings of petty individuals, why bother paying them any attention? Xingshang replied softly. The clash between these two exceptionally intelligent fiancés had officially begun. The Zongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness and Master Cheng are both in Xiaoyao capital. We must clarify everything. How could mere Dao Seed Realm juniors like Meng Huolong and Fu Wenyan possess a true scripture treasure like the Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter? Zuoqiu Hongting spoke earnestly, performing a Confucian Dao salute toward Immortal Tower, her dignified bearing emphasizing her own identity as a disciple of the Confucian Dao. Xingshang's eyes lit up with a peculiar brilliance. If clarification is what you seek, why not ask Southern Dragon to reveal the origins of the earthly tome's Great Earth's primordial essence Qi chapter? Xingshang would be eternally grateful. But if you fabricate lies that are easily exposed, you'll only make yourself a laughingstock. It would be better to remain silent. I don't need him to speak. I can tell you myself. The space around Zuoqiu Hongting's ancestral field trembled. A wisp of azure cloud qi enveloped a page of the earthly tome, which flew out like a sharp spiritual artifact, circling her in a rapid orbit. Whoosh! Dense rows of earthly tome characters materialized behind Zuoqiu Hongting, transforming into a towering wave of water. Xingshang gasped softly, the earthly tome's water intent chapter. Exactly. The water intent chapter. Li Wei and I each obtained a chapter in that secret realm and have both mastered its cultivation, Zuoqiu Hongting said. Xingshang pressed, which secret realm? Zuoqiu Hongting firmly controlled the rhythm of the conversation, retrieving the water intent chapter of the earthly tome into her ancestral field. She smiled calmly. They say you, Xingshang, possess a heart with 7 exquisite apertures. To obtain answers, one must always offer something in return. Her gaze swept toward the metal box containing the 10-star treasure bow. Xingshang refused to take the bait. Your price is too high, Miss Zuoqiu. If you reveal the location of that secret realm, it implies either you've already exhausted its resources or encountered insurmountable dangers. How could that possibly be worth a precious myriad inscriptions artifact? Zuoqiu Hongting abandoned the pretense and directly retrieved a fragment of an ancient stele from the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills from her cosmic pouch, placing it in the courtyard. Inscribed on the broken stele were 6 ancient characters, break the heavenly Tao's cage. You recognize these characters, don't you? And you must know of the great alchemical movement from ancient times. Zhuo Xuanhuan spoke with unwavering confidence. Would this be sufficient to exchange for the 10-star treasure bow? Qingshang struggled to maintain her composure, immediately stepping forward to examine the steel. She released spiritual light to probe it, her voice trembling slightly. This is Sect Sage's handwriting. The page of the earthly tome she showed me earlier indeed contained Sect Sage's azure cloud chi. Have you discovered the great Tao of alchemy secret realm mentioned in ancient texts? I don't know. At that moment, Zhuo Xuanhuan abruptly stopped talking. If you want the answer, let a sufficient number of Zhongsheng Academy experts to Crescent Moon Pass on the Demon Kingdom border by the Lantern Festival in half a month. We'll go together. Qingshang's gentle, beautiful eyes sharpened. You want to use us to fight the Demon Kingdom? Exactly. We're using you. You have value, so we're telling you the location. Zhuo Xuanhuan's tone carried a hint of arrogance. We only entered the first layer of the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills. We dared not venture into the second layer. If you know anything about that place, you'll understand why. This was Zhuo Xuanhuan's way of testing them. After all, Sect Sage Qing Yun Azure Cloud was Qingshang's founding ancestor. Perhaps the Qing clan truly knew something. Brother Meng, Qingshang said gravely, turning to Meng Kui and communicating telepathically. Seizing the momentum, Zhuo Xuanhuan declared decisively, if you don't go to Crescent Moon Pass, neither will we. Right, Brother Wei. Li Wei cleared his throat twice. We could go straight to the Wolf Sovereign Wilderness and make the great ancient land of the Tao of Pills a permanently hidden secret realm. Or, we could reveal it to the world and stir up chaos. There will always be others willing to join us. Meng Kui quickly said, this matter is of utmost importance. We must report it to our superiors immediately. Could we borrow this steel for now? Zhuo Xuanhuan, knowing they intended to take it for further verification by the Zhongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness and Cheng Dun, glanced at the metal case containing the 10-star treasure bow. You may borrow this bow for 3 years, Qingshang declared, displaying the extraordinary resolve of a heaven's chosen daughter. With a palm strike, she sent the metal case flying toward Zhuo Xuanhuan. Zhuo Xuanhuan activated her spiritual light, neutralizing the powerful martial mystic chi emanating from the case, and caught it steadily. You must not leak a word of this. Do not draw more factions into this affair, it will only bring harm and no benefit, Qingshang warned sternly, then retrieved the broken steel and departed swiftly with Meng Kui. Clap. Clap. Li Wei clapped softly, genuinely impressed. Hong Ting, you're remarkable. Qingshang and Meng Kui are both dragons and phoenixes among men, their minds sharp as razors, yet you completely outmaneuvered them from beginning to end. Dong. From the direction of Xiaoyao Palace, the first resonant bell chime echoed, its majestic sound instantly reverberating across a 1,000-mile radius. It was now 3/4 past midnight. Welcome, Demon Monarch. Amidst the thunderous roar of the crowd, the Demon Monarch's clone body, accompanied by the Demon Queen, Demon Consorts, Demon Lords, and a vast host of Demon Kingdom elites, descended upon the North Lake Arena with overwhelming majesty. Meanwhile, at Immortal Tower, the Zhongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness and the supreme rulers of the human race's life realms emerged from the pavilions like deities descending from the clouds, gazing down upon the mortal realm where the epic competition was about to unfold. In this era of peace, the human race's grandest event, the Immortal Ascension competition, officially commenced. Li Wei, Zhuo Xuanhuan, Nangong, and the Immortal Ascension beings from the three-clan alliance swiftly converged upon lake-gazing Green Mountain, where Immortal Tower stood. The crowd erupted into a cacophony of voices. War banners, each bearing unique emblems representing the various life realms, were raised high, fluttering in the cold wind. Ceremonial instruments, war drums, conch shells, horns, bronze gongs, and more, resounded in unison. The 1,000 immortal ascension beings of the third sequence were confined to designated areas within the manor at the foot of lake-gazing Green Mountain. The 200 immortal ascension beings of the second sequence were permitted to stand on the mountain's tiered stone steps, their positions determined by their rankings. The 30 immortal ascension beings of the first sequence had the privilege of standing beneath Immortal Tower at the mountain's summit. Zhuo Xuanhuan halted at the edge of the stone steps halfway up the mountain. Li Wei and Nangong continued their ascent, climbing step by step under the gazes of countless eyes, some filled with awe, others with scrutiny, jealousy, or anticipation, until they reached the summit. The Immortal Tower pierced the night sky, its towering silhouette reaching into the clouds. The gathering of human race elders at its summit, like celestial palaces, exuded an invisible pressure. Ahead, bathed in brilliant light, over 21st sequence heavens chosen from the immortal realm stood on a 100-square-meter jade plaza. Each radiated heroic vigor and exquisite beauty, some with profound depth, others with sharp intensity, and still others with ethereal grace. These were the strongest humans to emerge from the 172 life realms of southern Yingzhou over the past 60 years, each capable of defying realm boundaries and defeating opponents far above their cultivation level. Now, all eyes turned in unison to Li Wei, the last to arrive. The crowd subtly shifted, instinctively clearing the most honored position at the forefront, a symbol of supreme authority. Li Wei walked past Tang Jiyu and Tang Wanzhou, pausing briefly to glance at Tang Wanzhou's pale face. Her arm had been reattached. Rumor had it that Tang Wanzhou had nearly perished in a mutual destruction with Jiyu Junxiang. Only the Zongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness intervened at the last moment, transforming their fatal clash into a mutual severing of arms. It was precisely because the Zongsheng Academy Emperor's consciousness had commented, even at Jiyu Junxiang's peak, Tang Wanzhou could still use her 15th sword, Immortal's Demise, Snow's Melt, to destroy him utterly, that Tang Wanzhou's ranking surpassed Shan Shenge, elevating her to third place. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.